Greetings, brethren. This is Prophet Hisali from Hisali Ministry. So tonight I've come with the lesson titled The Goal of the Church. The goal of a church. Okay, so in this lesson we're going to learn about 4 questions. Number 1, what is a church? Number 2, who is the head of the church? Number 3, who is supposed to engage into church program? And then number 4, as the last one, what is the goal of a church? So let's pick the first one. What is a church? There is a popular wrong understanding about the church. What I mean is that people understand the word church wrongly to a point where they put it as church is a building, church is the attendancy, the people who submit themselves to that church, as they take it to say it is a building. So in this lesson we're going to learn about what is a church deeply. On to the simple, a church is a building plus attendancy. But on to the deep understanding, a church is not a building and not the attendancy capacity. Church is from the Greek word ecclesia. The word church is from a Greek word ecclesia, E-double-K-L-E-S-I-A. And explaining the word ecclesia or church itself in simpler terms, we say church is equal to people called out by God, to belong to God and sent by God. So if you can get that explanation, it is possible that you can credit it to the word ecclesia. It is possible that you can credit it to the word church itself. So church is a program, not attendancy. Neither is it a building. Church is a program, not attendancy. Neither is it a building. So number 2, who is the head of the church? Now there is this thing of worshiping men of God or preachers or pastors or prophets in church, whereby they are not supposed to be worshipped. Those people are supposed to be honored. Who is the head of the church? Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you to say, as men of God, we are just managers. We are just stewards. As men of God, we are second of the hierarchy, not first. Always a church which has no presence, I mean the presence of God, do not move in a way that it can be appreciated or in a way that it can be seen significant. So where a church where Jesus is put as the head, that church will have significance or impact in that area. A church which has a pastor, a prophet, an apostle, or a preacher, or a priest who knows to say the head of the church is Jesus, and I am second, so I have to listen to my commander, is a church which will create impact in an area. Who is the head of the church? As question 2. Jesus the head. And then now the person anointed, the person directed to create a church, a person directed to gather people, because not every church has a building. A person anointed, a person saint. We can go back to the definition. What is a church? People called out by God to belong to God and sent by God. So now a person who is called out by God, a person who is belonging to God, and a person who is sent by God is a person who is able to create a church as a program or to engage themselves into church program. So now question 3. Who is supposed to engage into church programs? The definition of the church itself, as again, it gives us the answer to say who is supposed to engage into church program. Number 1, a person called out by God. Number 2, a person who is belonging to God. And then number 3, a person who is sent by God. We can look at this. There is a popular say that when God calls you, He does not send you to go and save His people. He first break you and then make you again. Then He sends you to do the work. So there are so many people, because they have started, respectively speaking, there are so many people because they have started one or two scriptures, they create churches. And now there are churches whereby they are not representing the desire of God about churches, because they are created by someone who do not understand fully the program church itself. There are so many people because they are wary of their own problems in their homes. With all due respect, those people now, they turn out into creating churches without being called, without belonging to God. These are people you find out to say they are impregnating women in churches. These are the pastors you are finding out to say they are impregnating female members in a church. Because they did not know to say you have to be called out. You have to belong to God. When you belong to God, I don't think you can impregnate a member in your church. You have to be sent by God. So, to do a short explanation about who is supposed to engage into church program. Number 1, we can say one who knows the desires of God before Adam and Eve. You see, this thing that is happening now, people dying, people getting sick, it was not God's desire and wish in the times He created Adam and Eve. There was no sickness, there was no struggle, there was no pain when giving birth, there was no struggling to feed your family as a man. But because Adam and Eve disobeyed God, now God introduced all these things. So a person who creates a church must have that picture of understanding what was God's desire. You have to go back in the spirit and look through the lessons of the scriptures and find out to say what was God's desire before all these things came. Before Adam and Eve disobeying God, there was no sickness, there was no dying, there was no struggling. So now, as a creator or as a person who is engaging themselves into church, you will have that mentality that wherever you see sickness, you know to say your church program has to be introduced there. That's the reason why in your church there will be healing, there will be prosperous people, because God, after laying the cases when they disobeyed Him, I mean Adam and Eve, God also created a part where those who believe and obey me, they will have eternal life. That means if you are not obeying God, when you die it is over. But if you obey God, you are in a realm where God put no sickness, no dying, no struggling. So a person who creates a church should have that mentality of God's desire and wish before Adam and Eve disobeyed Him. Because of time, let's move to the second row, that a person who submits themselves to creating a church should be. Number 2, sacrificing holy, to obtain those who are in darkness to light, to sacrifice themselves wholly, to obtain those who are in darkness to the realm of light. Now, creating a church is not something comfortable. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it is God's program, but it calls out sacrifices. You have to carry the pain. You have to carry. Jesus himself carried the sins of our own selves for him to be exalted, for him to be for him to clear off those dates, the sins, for them to be forgiven. Jesus himself had to put them on his body, and then he died. So as a person who wants to play a law of engaging themselves into church matters, you have to know to say you have to sacrifice yourself wholly. Them that come after me, let them carry their cross and follow me. So creating a church is not something where you need favor and then at the other side you are willing to sacrifice yourself. No. A person who creates a church should sacrifice themselves wholly to obtain those who are in darkness to the realm of light. Now, number 4, what is the goal of a church? Jesus himself, when he wanted to rise up to heaven, Jesus never died for the second time to be buried as a normal man, the way we bury people nowadays. He rose up to heaven with his body. Now the thing is that before he left, he said to the apostles, he said, this thing which you have heard, meaning the gospel, this thing which you have seen, meaning the miracles, this thing which your hands have felt and touched, meaning the things that have happened to them, the good things, so to say. He said, go and preach these things to the world. He said, go and demonstrate to the world these things that you have seen, heard, and felt. Go and be witnesses of the wonder-working power. So the church program begins as being called by God. You agree, yes, I'll do this, Lord. It goes up to sacrificing yourself. Yes, Lord, I care not about myself but your people. And then it goes to being a witness. So a church leader or a pastor or someone who is leading the church, those people should have the ability to demonstrate the wonder-working power of God. You see, there are so many people getting irritated about going to church each and every day. Why? Because we have church leaders who are good in preaching the word, but they are not adjusting to a point where the word becomes a reality in themselves. They don't adjust to a level where they become witnesses of the wonder-working power of God, of the promises of the Father himself. When Jesus was dying, he was on a journey to being exalted, and his name being used as a tool to shift off darkness and producing light. Whereas as a leader in a church, passing through the process of being called, because even Jesus himself was called to do so, and then passing through the payment of sacrifice, passing through the process of being a witness. That is the enjoyment that you find after giving the sacrifice. You are exalted. Not your name being used to clear darkness, no. But there is a witness part where the things you talk about are a reality. And I always pray hard that leaders in churches can adjust to that point of being witnesses, so that they can attract many to the program of God. Now, I do not mean to paint blue-black on the lives of people who are doing great things in the kingdom, but they have not accelerated to a point where their lives becomes witnesses. Their lives become a reflection of the power of God. There are people like that, and if you look at them, they are carrying heavier masses of the grace of God. Don't condemn any of them. This sermon is directed to people who don't have the capacity to understand, to say, in the program of God, you don't just minister, you minister and then you demonstrate. In the kingdom of God, you don't just minister and demonstrate, you minister, demonstrate, and be a reflection of the power of God. Miracles were done by Jesus so that many can believe and follow. And for that reason, many believed and followed. God, where He is right now, if He wanted, He would have created the earth and the heaven, put you there, and then light scriptures by Himself and put a book there. The book that you call a Bible right now. And then no miracle, no help. He can be just there doing everything He's doing. And then I don't think even myself would have believed to say there is God. I mean, a book, just a book being written, no evidence that there is God. I'm not hearing any miracle from anyone. I'm not hearing any breakthrough from anyone. I mean, for 2,000 years on earth, no tangible thing we can call a miracle. I don't think many would have believed. I don't think so. But we believe. Why? Because He is there now doing the miracles in heaven and they are manifesting on earth. Jesus came and raised the dead. Why can't you believe to say you will rise up even when you die? So as a person who ministers, as a person, a church leader, you have to create results. Don't create results by your own self. Rise to a point where God makes you a witness. And then when you become a witness, people will follow you. You don't have to go out calling out people to join your church. No, sir. No, sir. There are so many people calling people, visiting people in churches because they want to gain audience in their churches. It doesn't work like that. For me, I can have a church. For me, when I'm done with someone in a place where I call my church, that someone has to be a reflection of God's power. I'll be ashamed to point at someone who is not producing results. When I say this is my daughter, this is my son, those people have to program a clear exhibit, a clear message that they are witnesses, and then I can let them go. Not in a case where you release someone to go and create a cell, and a cell of your church, and that person is still a toddler in the spirit. All you want is to magnify the name of your church. All you want is to magnify the fact that you are doing church. No, sir. Church is a program of God, and so the people you send out to go and create cells, and in most cases you find out to say the main church can be there pointing to say that is my cell, that is my cell, that is my cell. That's not the idea. When you create a church and raise members in your church, don't send them to go and create cells. You are the one who were called. And then when you are called, you started it. You are now doing it. Let them feel the calling of God in your church. Let them stand up and go create cells by their own selves. Not whereby you are even forcing them. Your church is just started 2 months ago, and then you are there forcing members because you understand. You tell them to go and open cells, and then in 5 months' time you find out to say the cells and your church are down. Why? Because they are from a source which is not of an ability to sustain them. So there must be an understanding of the whole process. Are you getting my point? Not whereby you are not, you just pick up members in your church, go and create a cell, go and create a cell, go and create a cell. All you want is to magnify the name of your church. All you want is, and even those cells, you even tell them to say, on your cell, go and write the name of this church. It doesn't work like that, sir. So this message is here to let you know to say on the 30th of July 2026, we are going to release a full message about the goal of the church. This is just a clip outlining some of the things we're going to discuss about, but we are going to maximize it to a point that on the 30th of July 2026, you have the full understanding about the goal of the church. So all we need you to do is to follow Hisali Ministry on Facebook, follow Hisali Ministry on YouTube, follow Hisali Ministry on TikTok. And if possible, please join our WhatsApp channel. Make sure you find ways of obtaining one of these platforms so that you can be alerted when we release the message. The goal of the church. The message is coming on the 30th of July 2026. Stay blessed. This is Hisali Ministry.